Okay, hello and welcome to another IGManager-TV Quick E. This one for May 9th, 2013. And the title is Tax Math Doesn't Add Up. This is really not an IG Manager problem. This is more of a point-of-sale accounting type problem. And what I'm talking about is there's an expectation that if I have a point-of-sale and I take the point-of-sale's taxable A sales and I multiply that by the tax rate for tax A, I should get the same number as my tax A collected. In reality, this never matches. And you say, well, why? It doesn't make any sense. It should match. Well, let's go ahead and look at let's look at an example. I'm going to have an example with three items: one for $249, one $289, and one $329. And for my example, we're going to run a 5% sales tax. All right. So first of all, we'll run the transaction by hand. So we're going to sell those three items, $249, $289, $329. That comes out to $8.67. I look at my handy dandy 5% tax table from the state. It says that's 43 cents. That gives me a total of $9.10. Well, I'd like to point out, in reality, 5% tax on $8.67 is really 43.35 cents. Since they haven't figured out a way yet to collect hundredths of a penny, we have to round that to a round penny. And since it's less than a half a penny, it rounds down to 43 cents. All right, so that's just the way it is. So I'm going to go ahead now, just to show you that the point of sale is running this transaction the way we expect. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the terminal and run through the same transaction so that you can see that it is doing the transaction the way we expect. Now I'm going to have my back to you while I run my register. So the first one is $249. There it is there. I'm going to go ahead and hit total just to show you the total with the tax. All right, here's $289. Another total with the tax. All right. And now $329. Total with tax. You'll see over here that we've got 43 cents tax and a total of $9.10. So the system is running the way it's supposed to. Okay. So you say, what's the big deal? Well, unless you have a store that only does one transaction, this is where the problem comes in. Looking at our one transaction, the sale was $8.67. The calculated tax on $8.67 is 43.35 cents, or $0.4335. We only can collect whole pennies, so we only collected 43 cents. That makes us, quote, short on our tax by $0.0035, or 0.35 cents. You say, who cares? Well, let's go ahead and take this and say 20 people come in and buy these same three items in your store. So we start out, once again, each transaction is going to be $8.67. We're only going to be able to collect that whole penny, so we're going to collect 43 cents each. So after those 20 transactions, our sale total will be $173.40. If you use your math magic on $173.40, you will find the tax calculated would be $8.67. But since we only collected 43 cents for tax each transaction, our tax collected is only $8.60, which means we are now, quote, short tax by 7 cents. So what does this mean? This means that since tax is collected based on each transaction's taxable total, the accumulated tax collected will always be less than the amount calculated using the store's combined taxable total. Let me say that again. Since tax is collected based on each transaction's taxable total, the accumulated tax collected will always be less than the amount calculated using the store's combined taxable total. So what does this mean? This means the fact that the math doesn't work is actually okay, because it cannot work unless you happen to have a store that does one transaction a day, which I hope that's not your situation. Now, the difference between calculated and collected will vary based on many different factors. A couple of them that are the big guys are, one, your average basket total. If you have smaller basket totals, you're going to be sitting down there in the smaller taxes collected, and you could be ending up with more halvesies laying around out there. The other problem is the number of transactions. These little bits and pieces you can add up. So hopefully you have a lot of customers and transactions, which means these little bits and pieces will add up. Now, in theory, depending on how your basket total, your number of transactions, and the tax rate itself, this may balance itself out. Some have, some, but most of the time it's usually, the complaint is always that the amount is less. So, once again, since we calculate tax based on each individual transaction, you can't then go at the end of a period and add up all those transactions and say that the tax calculated has to equal what you collected, because there is no way it could. Okay? Well, thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you next on our next Quickie.